Fam, what is good? What is happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Mazana, and welcome to another edition of LGR Reviews. This week we are reviewing episodes 1 and 2 of We Own the City, the miniseries by David Simon, the creator of The Wire. But I'm not alone. I'm never alone. I'm with my dog Caleb. Caleb, how are you, my man?
I'm good, man. It's my birthday right now. I was trying to celebrate right, so you know, it
Let's,
was
hey,
for
man.
me.
Let's say, man. You know what? Let's celebrate, right, Caleb? You know what the saying is. Two got homies. Three's a crowd. Four is a party. Let's add two more people, man. Due to
Yeah,
the fact that this show is about Baltimore, so we asked some of our homies who are born and bred in that region to come and join us. We actually got a film student. He's actually a film student who's actually in the industry. Who's actually, I'm not saying he was a part of the location scouting, but he knows about the location scouting. And we got an OG. I'm not gonna call him an old head because he ain't that old, but he is an old head a little to me. I love you, Tony. But he's the one, the only. It is DeShawn. DeShawn, how are you, my man? That's not the
What's
old
good,
head.
bros?
DeShawn is
Yeah, done.
no, he's the film guy. It's the film guy. DeShawn told me that he was a part of you were a part of it, but you knew about the film scouting, right, DeShawn?
Yeah, I did some locations work for We Own the City, just some minor stuff for real.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now let's also add the fourth member of this crew to make it a party for Caleb. He is the old head. He's the one, the only. That's Hendo. Hendo, how are you, my man? He is. Oh, I hope he's not frozen. Is he frozen?
I'm good.
Yeah, you
Empty.
good?
Am I
You
frozen?
good? No, you're not
Nah,
frozen.
he's
You
good.
good, Tony? You
yeah.
good, Tony? All right,
What's going
man.
on?
Hey
How y'all
guys,
feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, Tony. I'm doing good. We're reviewing a great show with great people. That's all we really ask for in life, right? Great show, great people. Let's talk about it, man. Right away, when y'all heard this was happening, right? Because I ain't from Baltimore, neither is Caleb. We're West Coast people.
Nope.
When y'all heard there's like another show about Baltimore, what was going through y'all minds? Let's start with you, Tony. Tone,
Is
Tone.
he present?
I think he's frozen. Let's go to
Yeah,
Deshaun
he's
first.
present.
Let's go to Deshaun first. Deshaun, what about you, my man?
So for me, when I first heard about it through work for real, cause a friend of mine's got a production assistant job on it, and I was really just looking at it trying to get work for real. So I got to do, like I said, a little bit of locations work. That's just some real minor stuff. I didn't really get to work on set and anything like that, but um I was signed up to be an extra on the show, but I overslept. So
Yeah.
that was that. But honestly, I thought it was just dope because you don't see a whole lot filming in Baltimore. At least from my perspective, from what I've seen, um, a lot of on location shooting in Baltimore. So it was dope for me just as an opportunity for people who want to learn about film to get work for real. That's the way I looked at it.
Tone, what about you, my man?
Um, I learned about it through life experience. I grew up in the city, so I was a part of it. I heard about it. Most of the locations that they talk about, I grew up, had family living there, so it's not just TV for me. That and The Wire was a part of my life. Like I grew up in the ghetto. Like that's where I started from. Moved from the ghetto into the heart of the city. So it's all life experience for me, bro.
Yeah, all right. All right. Well, you know what? Let's get right into it, man. Episode one is a couple years after Freddie Gray's. What they're telling me, I think 2017 is the year we pick up into it, and they get right into it, like the way it's policing the city, kind of how like cops have kind of like given up. They don't care no more. It's what I was getting from it, right? And how like, but they're really focusing on this one task force, the gun trace task force. And I didn't know this task force existed. I didn't know nothing. This is actually based on a book. Have y'all read the book? Has anyone read the book? Because I didn't know there was a book.
No.
No? Yeah, there's a book by
Nah,
a
my
Baltimore.
father got it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a book written by a Baltimore Sun reporter about the gun trace task force and the ultimate corruption of the organization. A district attorney from the Civil Rights Department of the DOJ is coming to investigate, kind of like overhaul the police department and like kind of do a review. How did y'all like that part? So let's start with you, Caleb. How did you like when you were watching it? Three
Yeah.
now.
Going into the show, like I didn't know anything about any of the true events that happened that they're trying to portray in the show. Really just had knew nothing about it. Just watched it because it was on HBO and HBO puts out good shit. So I'm gonna watch at least check it out. And I got hooked on it real quick. Seeing what it was about. The fact that the corruption that goes on in the whole police force in the whole city of Baltimore, and that they're just like, you know, like you said, they just don't care, or they're just trying to get, you know, paid, and that's it. They're not really trying to fix anything, or, you know, really trying to make stuff better. But there are like, but what I do like about it, they do show the good cops that are trying to step up, trying to speak up, but they just kind of be put aside, and they're not really, you know, giving their due. And it's really just focused on this, you know, like I said, this one task force that's, you know, stealing, jacking on the all the criminals, all the drugs, and the guys who run guns and all that stuff. Yeah, they're just stealing their shit and profiting off of them. And yeah, well, it's portraying because they just need to. Like it shows like that because they can't really afford anything. So is it or they can't police right because of other events that happen, like you said, very great stuff that they don't feel like they can police right. So might as well just, you know, do what they can do, and that's it. You know, so I'm really liking that part of the show right now.
All right, DeShawn, what about you, my man?
So I liked the first episode. It was, I'm always gonna look at things like from a different angle just because I'm a film student, and that was sort of my lane. But um, it was shot really well. I do like that it was shot like what's the word looking for? Not in the same continuity that you would think, like not from one event to another. It wasn't shot in sequence. It was you see
Linear.
flashbacks. Yeah,
Yeah.
linear. That's the word I'm looking for. Uh, it was shot in flashbacks. You see stuff that took place. I think they were talking about like 2005 and 2003 that kind of shaped what these characters are now in present tense. So I do like that because you sort of get like an explanation. You sort of get to understand who these characters are a little bit more. Um, I did like the scene though where they had the guy that was in interrogation in jail, where you also saw him like in the flashback. He was breaking into people's cribs and stuff like that. So
Mamadou Gandu.
or at least
Gando.
yeah, Gandu
Yeah.
Gando.
Yeah.
So he
G
was
Money.
the driver. Yeah. So it's definitely interesting. I get a lot of vibes that I got from The Wire, which was another great show. Obviously, not just because a lot of the cast and ensemble is from The Wire, but that is another aspect that I do like that they brought back some of your favorite characters from that show too. So I really liked episode one, episode two as well. I know we're gonna talk about that, but so far it starts off really strong.
Tony, your thoughts, my man.
Um, I really enjoyed it. I liked the way in the beginning how it started off, how he told them, "Listen, if we lose the fight, we lose the streets." And it kind of set everything going forward as to how they would police his influence on everybody, his justification for the brutality. Now he was giving them ways around the system, and he said something that kind of reminded me of the old movie Basic with John Travolta. And in that movie, they were like, "If we tell the story right." So that's pretty much he said if you write your reports correctly and you tell the story right, you can basically get out of anything. And I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. I grew up around some of these cops. So well, not from the show, but just around cops in general. And listen, it ain't all what it's cracked up to be. But as far as the show goes, I appreciate how they portrayed it, the cinematography of it all. Like it was actually pretty much on point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man, I quite enjoyed it, man. Hey, you say David Simon, I'm like, where is it? And I'm watching. You know what I mean? That's the way it is, because The Wire is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. He did The Deuce, he did Treme. I quite enjoyed those shows as well. But like, yeah, man, the way it just feels like extremely real and like tactful. You can feel the moments. You know what I mean? That's the way I like the first episode. And just like I'm with you, DeShawn. I like how it's not like point A to point B to point C, point D. You know what I mean? I like how it's like point A, let's go back to point F, then let's come back to point D, then let's hop back to point A. You know what I mean? So like you gotta use your brain, and like I like how like they use the cop report as a way to hop back in time. You know, it's
Mhm.
like it's like
Yeah, that's a good
uh,
transition
yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
back
That's
and
a
real
forth
great
creative.
transition.
through
Yeah,
events.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Jenkins, Wayne, search and seizure warrant, December 5th, 2015 or '05. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, man, this is pretty good. Cause I'm pretty sure, like, because when we first see Jenkins, he's in full uniform with the baton in his hand, flipping it.
Walking a beat.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that's the end of the show because he doesn't have any facial hair. He's clean shaven, meaner, pissed off. So I'm thinking he didn't get fired. He was just put on a street duty. You know what I mean? Like that's like, and I'm just like, yo, this is wild to me because like we know point A to point B, point C. That's how movies and TV shows are made. We go from A to B to C. But this one's like A to D to F, back to D, and now back to A. And I quite enjoy that because it keeps me on my toes. I don't know what time period we're on. I need to connect dots, and then like the interrogation with the cops. Let's get right into it. Like when the interrogation with the cops, because it all starts off with a drug overdose in Baltimore County, not Baltimore City, Baltimore County. They connected to the city because they're following a major drug dealer. I don't know. Is it his name is Shropshire? I don't know his first name. I don't
Listen,
know. His,
listen. I'm sorry I cut you off,
yeah,
but this is bringing back memories for me. His name is Antonio Shropshire.
Antonio Shropshire.
And the reason that it's so clear to me is because my ex-wife's name is Shropshire, and he might be a relative. And when I saw it, it kind of brought me back to, oh yeah, that's where they grew up at, and it kind of hit real close to home. But that's how I know his name, because Shropshire is not a common name anywhere.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. So Tony, let's go to you, man. When you first go into the Baltimore County drug overdose, conviction or like investigation, how'd you think about that? I mean, did you know about the Baltimore County connection, or was that not talked about?
I didn't know about the Baltimore County connection, and that's how things got kicked off. But it just kind of gives you a scope of what's going on around here. It's not just in the city. All the surrounding counties of Baltimore are kind of considered Baltimore to some people, and the police departments don't really work too well together or work that much together. But in this case, they were trying to bring down a drug lord, and it so happened that all this tied together, leading them to find G Money. And
Mhm.
that's how the whole investigation started, because they found out G Money's connection to everything, and they heard him on a wiretap admitting to drugs. So that's what kicked everything off.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, Tony. DeShawn, I want to get your thoughts. Like, how just like blatant, and he didn't care that he was talking about drugs on a phone. This is a cop who knows about wiretapping, just clearly on his phone talking about like, oh yeah, I'm helping this criminal sell some drugs. Like, what was going through your mind when you were like, yo, are these people that dumb? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you
It would
thinking?
honestly, it would honestly surprise you how many simple-minded mistakes the dudes be making. But I'm not necessarily from the city, and I'm more from the county area, and that's why I kind of defer to Hendo on some of the aspects that he knows what was actually going on in the city at the time. But what I can say about the county police is that it is kind of um a picture that's painted a certain way that the county, that oh, nothing goes on there. But if you really think about it, at least for me, I live in Baltimore County, but the city is really like 20-25 minutes away without traffic. So you really kind of see how easy it is for that stuff to kind of transfer over from the city into the county too. So that was interesting to think about. And to your point about getting caught up on the wiretaps, you would think that more people know about that or be smarter and more intelligent, at least when it comes to how they operate. But I don't know, bro. Like, I kind of go to expect it a lot of times, especially in TV shows, that the criminal sort of has to make a ignorant mistake in order to get the events kicked off, to kind of give that detective that kind of extra push, or that extra assist to help them figure it out in the end. But yeah, yo, I couldn't believe he got caught up on a wiretap. Like that's
I
something
can I can
that's
I can
rookie.
believe it.
That's rookie.
It It's not. It's not. It's not. And it's not a mistake. It's actually hubris. Just like you saw when they feel like they are above the law and are untouchable, they don't
Yeah,
care about the mistakes because even at the end, he had the FBI putting him in handcuffs. And he's like, "Do you know who I am? You are a Baltimore City police officer talking to the FBI like, do you know who I am? Yeah, we know who you are. That's why we're arresting you." So it's not a mistake. Like they just felt like they were really above the law.
Yeah,
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 see,
that's really what it
that's
comes down to.
that's why
they
I
look,
thought, because it really shows how commonplace this cop culture is, that they just feel like they can get away with anything because they honestly can get. I mean, it hasn't caught up with them up to that point. Even their bosses ahead of them, or even like, oh, we'll take care of this and that. Like it's no big deal. Or in any complaints that just dropped, or they're getting away with this and that because they're having these people come up and signing things for that they won't sue against false arrests and all that. So it just feels like, well, they're never going to get caught up. So, I don't even have to be that careful.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
kind of goes to a deeper point where it's like, and you kind of saw this in The Wire as well. And it's one of those types of techniques that I think transferred over. When the police have their meetings and stuff with the chiefs and the captains and whatever, they talk about the people like just statistics, just like numbers on a board for real. It just goes to show you the lack of humanity and how they don't necessarily view the people they're trying to protect as people. They're just numbers to meet a quota for real.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you kind of like let's go to the quota. Like you kind of overload the docket to get paid overtime, basically. Like just arrest all eight of them. They all got the drug charge, even though only one of them had like the gram of cocaine in their pocket or crack. You know, what I mean? It's like arrest them all for conspiracy. Basically like that's actually what's happening to Young Thug and Gunna. They're
Hmm.
they're they're wrapped up in this conspiracy RICO charge that that people think that they're benefiting. So like it's kind of like all jumbled up a little. Kind of. I did have a question. Damn, what was my question? I had a question, but it kind of lost on me, man. But it is what it is. So, but
And
now
that
let's
kind
talk.
of and
Oh,
that's
my
kind of
bad, son.
shown too in that one scene where like I can't even think of the main character's name, but when he was on rookie duty and
Wayne
he
Jenkins.
was when James was working with his partner or whatever in the flashback scene where they was talking about O'Malley said he was gonna have this number of arrests or he was gonna get the murder rate cut to this number by November or something like that. So we just gonna go around arresting people, if anything, just to keep them from doing something potentially. You know what I'm saying? Like threatening to arrest people standing on their front porch. You know what I'm saying? Just to get them off the street, just to get them off the area, just for you know what I'm saying, numbers. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's all portrayed in that show.
Well, I want to talk about the governmental aspect of it, the Civil Rights Department of the DOJ. I believe the character's name is it Nicole Wallace? Is it Nicole Wallace?
Hold up.
Let me. Uh,
Nicole
okay.
Steele.
Nicole Steele. Like, how prominent was she in the city? Did everybody know her name, or was she just like flying underneath the radar? No one knew what was going on. Like, how prominent was this in the city, Tony? Like, did you know what was going on? Did everybody know what was going on? Like, was it just
Not
like, no,
not at all.
not at all?
But we figured that there would be some kind of governmental cover up or something just to say, look, we're involved, we're engaged, we're trying to do something to make things better. But we don't pay attention to that because this happens all the time. Like these people come through, try to make a name for themselves, try to solicit change, but it never really happens. This stuff has been going on for forever since I've been born. I've been in Baltimore since 1975, and this has been going on since then.
Hmm. When I like, let's see, like, now let's talk about the characters. Like, how y'all like John Bernthal as Wayne Jenkins? Did y'all know who
I
the hell he was,
Yeah.
Caleb?
I recognize them
What?
from
Oh yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
you go ahead, Caleb.
Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously, I love John Bertha. I think he does great in most things he's in. He's great at playing these villain kind of characters. I mean, he started doing that where how he got notoriety from The Walking
Shane.
Dead, playing a cop, and being the villain cop in that show. So I think he does a really good job in this show. That's one of the reasons why I started watching the show, just because I like John Bertha and how he acts. And so I I think he's doing a great job in this.
DeShawn, you had something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I was a fan of his from The Walking Dead as well, and that's where I recognized him from. I think he does a really good job. He kind of does have that. I don't know how you would describe it, but the mannerisms of a white guy in Baltimore City that you would typically see, like, it kind of fits. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it kind of made sense the more I've seen him like portraying that character and interacting within like the surroundings. But I really like John Bernthal, and I don't really have a problem with none of the characters, none of the casting really. It all seems pretty well done to me.
Mhm. Tone, what about you, my man?
When I saw this guy, I was like, really? This dude? Come on. But after watching him, DeShawn's right. The mannerisms, the speech, and everything, he nailed it. Like
Yeah.
they I don't think they could have picked a better dude. Like he got the part down right. And I actually think they made good choices as far as the cast members go all the way around.
Did y'all know what a consent decree was? Because I didn't know what a consent decree was on a police department, like where they're being like doing their job while also being investigated at the same time. I've never heard that. Well, did y'all find out stuff that you never knew about beforehand, Tony?
Oh yeah. Like I've
Yeah.
never heard of that before either.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of gave you a look into the inner workings behind the scenes. But once again, it's all for the most part paper pushing. And I'm surprised that they actually went as far as they did in investigating it. But yeah, I mean, I learned quite a bit watching the show. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen going forward.
I
Sean,
was
what was something you found out, Sean, that you're like, oh, whoa, what is it?
so I want to say I was in high school when the police chief Anthony Batts got fired. I want to say I was in high school or maybe like my first year of college, and I remember my folks talking about it, but I just never like really understood why. But then when they show the scene of Nicole Steele talking to Mayor Rawlings Blake, who I was not much of a fan of in her stuff either, but when she was talking about why she fired him and stuff like that, I never knew that was the conversation had about that. So that was something for me that um, was kind of insightful.
Caleb, what about you, my man?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the whole like when they're trying to get people off the streets so they won't cause violence and whatever, and they're just arresting them for no types of reason. And when they do get to the jail, have to go to they have to go through this process where they have to either sign to get left free, and they won't sue the city for a false arrest, or they have to stay there longer and actually go through the whole having an arraignment and whatever. That blew me away. I was like, no idea about that.
That's not a normal process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some trick. That's some tricky stuff that they put in at that time. That wasn't normal at that time.
Yeah, because apparently, because it was like they were so overflowed, they just put a legal aid at the jail to like just do the process. It blew me away as well. I was
But
thrown
that,
off.
but that's the government like taking advantage of citizens not knowing their rights. And I mean, it could go all the way deeper back into like what we teaching kids in public education and stuff like that too. But when you have a city full of people where they're not necessarily aware of their rights, it's easy to say, yeah, we can arrest you all and then just sign this piece of paper so you can go home real quick. That way you can't sue us and we meet our quota for arrest too. It's like a win-win for them, but the people that they're supposed to protect and serve get put through the ringer and without even knowing that they supposed to be compensated for it.
Well, actually, guys, I think we've talked about episode 1 a lot, but there's just one episode at the very end that I want to get y'all's opinions on. When they lure Wayne Jenkins into a building, and the cops just jump on him and arrest him, and they put him in this interrogation room, and the interim police chief walks in and just looks at him. He just looks at him and like it's just like the stare down. Then he walks out and was like, everyone else had fear or shame. He had no shame. He had no fear. He didn't care. What was your guys' thoughts in that moment of like, yo, that's some like good non-verbal acting. Like
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I was like,
Yeah, that was what the whole sequence of events that were taking place of him just coming in and everybody just kind of like not giving the same reaction that he normally goes through, and then just thinking, oh, it's just a regular, day. I'm just going in for whatever, and then him just finding out, and then him getting arrested, and just his demeanor and his whole attitude was kind of like, what are you doing? Like,
Who do you
like
think
Tony
you are?
him,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like he was doing a great job. Like that whole scene was one of my favorite sequences. This show so far.
How about you, DeShawn?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was, elite acting, and um, yeah, I just I can't really say too much about it. I don't want to spoil nothing, but yeah, I really enjoyed that whole sequence of, like you said, nonverbal acting. Sometimes the best acting is when things aren't said, and you can just see the actors like expression, and like it goes back to what we were saying about the mannerisms, how he's nailed that and everything. Yeah, I really enjoyed that last sequence.
Yeah. What about you, Tony?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was very powerful. I may have looked at it a different way than others because the way I saw it was the commissioner was actually going in to look him eye to eye to see if he thought he was guilty or not. And the look that he gave him back, he was kind of like, yeah, he did this. There's no need to back him. There's no need to fight for him. Just do what you got to do. And he walked out.
Yeah, Sam, I agree with you, Tony. So now let's transition to like episode two. So episode two, it's kind of like you said, Deshaun, kind of a back and forth, hopping back in time periods because we go
Yeah,
all the way back to Wayne Jenkins's rookie year, where he's being taught how to police in the city. Where it's like I said, oh, one of them got the drugs. They all got the drugs. Just arrest them, arrest everybody, so we can get paid. And then also, kind of distinct with the Raymond FBI interview where he's legitimately just spilling everything, saying like,
yeah,
"Yo, man, we had the crookedest crooks, the baddest mofo's on the planet. Y'all put me in a group of people like, cause he knew he was a crook. So he's like, y'all thought I was a
yeah.
crook. Y'all put me in a group with bigger crooks than me. So what do you think was gonna happen?" And like he tells a story how like he was gonna get suspended, but they didn't get suspended because they kind of forgot about him and kind of elapsed. Like, what are your guys' initial thoughts on episode two? Let's start with you, Caleb. What about you, my man?
Yeah, it's another good episode. The it's going back and showing how because he didn't always start this way of being who he was and how he was acting, whatever. Even go back to the first episode, he was uh, it started him off talking about how to conduct yourself as a police officer. And obviously he doesn't act like anything he was talking about, and because he was learning from his training officer that anything they teach you in that police academy is all bullshit. Like this is the way you got to deal with these type of criminals and do what you got to do. And yeah, so and then we saw the him telling the whole process of how you make money with all cheating on overtime and what you have to do to get this amount of rest so you can get this bonus and that bonus. That was all like wow, that was super crazy to me.
What about you, my man, Deshaun?
Yeah, so my favorite part was the interrogation. When the guy was pretty much just spilling everything, because that was a part of it I didn't even think about. You know what I'm saying? Having guys on the street that you wouldn't even suspect them of being cops for real, and whole time, just because there's such a stigma about the police in Baltimore, or not even in Baltimore specifically, but just like within the black community, there's just this stigma about the police and working with the police that you see the top guys in this show now are undercover police. So that's like a different spin that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And, to listen like what he was saying was real. When you kind of sit back and think about it from a non-biased perspective, is like, how you gonna expect me to play by the book when everybody I'm in here with been done 10 times worse than me? You know what I'm saying? So it's really just about in that character's eyes, just playing the game. You know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about the rule book. Don't worry about ethics and morals. You just got to do what you got to do to, fit in. So
Tone about you, my man.
Yeah, it's not surprising, but it was just eye opening of the process of you have these new cadets coming in to their first shifts, and their officers that they ride out with are saying, "Look, all that stuff you learn, forget about it. This is how we do stuff over here." And unfortunately, cops don't make a lot of money off a straight salary. So they have to do what they have to do to get overtime and so forth. And this guy was like, listen, if you want to make the money, this is what you do. So, of course, if you want to make that money, you have to kind of slight the books a little bit, do some things that are unethical. Now, when it came to the interview with Rayam, like that hit home to me because I'm like, I was a correctional officer, and jail teaches you how to be a better criminal. So if you take a crooked cop and put him in a unit with cops more crooked than you are, all you're gonna do is learn how to be a better crooked cop. So that's what happened. And the fact that he got caught stealing money and they gave him 2 years paid leave just blows my mind.
that's how they do it, and that's why
Mhm.
there's no accountability. Like I do some foul stuff, and I get to take a 2-year paid vacation, basically.
Mhm.
And I can get a job somewhere in another district and still get paid as a cop.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because the first part of the episode, I remember um, Rayam is I don't know how to say it. It's Raymond. I think it's
It's
Raymond. I don't
Rayam.
know.
It's Rayam.
Ray,
Ram.
Rayam.
So Ram is walking past Jenkins, and then Jenkins is like, "Yo, just keep your mouth shut. Shut up. Don't say a single goddamn word.
yeah,
Don't say nothing. Don't say goddamn nothing. I know the plan." And they shove Jenkins in this booth, and it's very clear how the FBI agents aren't talking to Jenkins at all, because they're like, he ain't giving us. He's not gonna give us nothing.
Right.
We have figured out that he is the man that's stone cold silent. Mamadou, G Money, and Rayam, we press them, then we'll get them. And they pressed them both, and they got the information out of them. You know, G Money just admits to being in Shropshire's Cop Connect in the very first episode. It's like, yeah, I know him. He was my homie. We talk drugs all the time, like without hesitation. Then Rayam is like, yeah, we stuck up people. We stole 10 grand. We did all of this. And then Jenkins is like, I was built within this code that I was taught by my FTO and by Mike Fries. You know, they kind of make fun of Mike Fries. Kind of makes fun of him when he brings the small crabs to the
Right.
cookout. It's like basically like how you see like how Big Bad Jenkins sees himself. He gets emasculated by the people who are above him and bigger and badder, who created the GTTF, the Gun Trace Task Force. So they cut him down to pieces real quick. You know what I mean? It's like the bully who got bullied, but is the bully to everybody else. And then like there's his brother that whoops his ass. Like that's what it is basically.
But listen, first,
Yeah.
you can't listen in Baltimore. You can't come around no party with no small crabs, bro.
And
Like,
I'm with you.
you will get
I,
stabbed. Like you cannot come with no even mediums
hey
to an
man,
extent. Like you can't you got to come
I
with some
figured that
extra
out real
large,
quick.
bro.
I quickly figured that out when I was watching the scene. I was like, note to self: when I'm in Baltimore, extra large crabs
big crabs
all the
only.
time.
Big crabs only, bro.
Yeah, man, big crabs, big crabs. You know what I mean?
Bro,
So
what
yeah,
happened?
man. So like, yeah, man. So he's being taught this one thing. Ray is not listening to what Jenkins is, and then Ray tells the FBI people, "Yo, man, if you want people to talk, keep them away from Jenkins. Keep them away from Jenkins, and they'll talk. If Jenkins get near them, they ain't talking." And like they're making Jenkins like this borderline boogeyman, basically. Like, what y'all thinking about that? Like, DeShawn?
Well, my thing, it kind of surprised me to see him like when Jenkins was walking past Ram to see him start like wilding out like that, cause like, bro, that don't make no sense to do all that yapping and yelling when the CEOs and the FBI is right here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
clearly they can tell you, you know what I'm saying, in cahoots with something. So it's like, why are you gonna do all that shouting and be so obvious about it? But um, yeah, yo, I think they trying to set him up to be sort of like the scapegoat. Um, you know what I'm saying? I think we still gonna be in for some more surprises in the next couple episodes. But As of right now, it just kind of seems like they making him out to be the scapegoat. But I don't even think he was. I really don't think he's the one that's orchestrating it all. I mean, I know that's what they say, and I know that's what like they implying, but something tells me it's deeper than just him.
Caleb.
Yeah, he was he's not the one that put the task force together. I mean, he just but yeah, they did. Like you said, you're just trying to pin it on him, and he's trying to keep it. He obviously became somewhat of just because he's a figure in the police force of being well known. I think that's why they're the other cops some cops may not be afraid of him or whatever, or afraid to speak out against him. Obviously, the guy that they were interviewing wasn't. He's willing to. I'm gonna tell it about everybody, and the other cop was too. So, that
Tony,
kind
about you, man. Oh, my bad, Caleb. Tony.
Now, he may not have been the ringleader, but what happened was he put himself out there. Like, he was always the loud one, the flashy one. He was going around giving seminars to his higher ups on how to police. When you put your name out there like that, you become a target, whether you are doing right or you're doing wrong. And apparently he was doing a lot of wrong. And being a ringleader in the face of crime in the police department, they had to make an example out of somebody. Like, when something happens, to make people feel secure, you have to put a face to the criminal. And unfortunately, he was the one. And he went down for it.
Yeah, you step
But
on
one
enough
thing,
toes, they gonna get you eventually.
yeah, but one thing that I don't think that they said or that they portrayed or they're going to portray later on is they try to make it seem like that this task force were only targeting drug dealers. They weren't. Like, they pulled regular people off the street, and what they would do is they would get your driver's license and find your address, and then later on come back and rob your house. Like, you didn't have to be a drug dealer. You could have just been a regular dude driving a nice car, and they were just robbing people left and right.
I think
But
they kind of alluded to that with the scene with the dude and his son in the car.
I was about to,
Yeah.
Sean, I was about to transition to. They start now talking about bringing up this one cop. His name is Herschel. I think it's John Herschel, I believe. I don't know if that's his name, but this portion of the show is all about him and how Nicole Steele is getting to the bottom of, like, how can a cop who has over 50 complaints, only one are sustained, still be on the street? And just like you said, DeShawn, let's go right into it. The scene where he is punking Slim Charles. That's what I'm pointing out. I'm calling him Slim Charles
Slim
because
Charles.
he is.
That's who he is, Slim Charles.
That's
That's Slim
hey, man,
Charles.
like, who's Who's from The Wire when they're watching this TV show? You know what I mean? Like, I saw like 8 people in the first 2 episodes. I was like,
I can't believe they got my man's Marlo as a Fed now, yeah.
Yo, Marlo, hey, yo, that's crazy, dude. Marlo, in the great words of Bunk, he's murder police. That's what Marlo is. He's murder police.
He's a rookie murder police.
He's rookie murder
Right.
police. Yeah. So Herschel, in that situation, DeShawn, take me through what was going through your mind, my man.
So obviously I was pissed because you know what I'm saying. That's a scene that kind of hits home because it's like you can't help but put yourself in his shoes. It's like that's something we always deal with. It's like if the police stop you and pull you over, you almost gotta like comply with everything they say. They can punk you around. They can treat you like shit. They can do whatever. And that's just one of them scenes that just really hit home and like piss you off. But um, yeah, for me that was like you were saying they was getting people's IDs and going back and robbing a house and stuff like that. That was something I wasn't even hip to. So like once again, you go back to stuff that learning constantly through this show and seeing different stuff that goes on. That was something that I wasn't even hip to in the first place. So definitely learned something new there.
Tone, let's go to you, my man.
We've had discussions offline, and this is another powerful scene for me because unfortunately you have another white man pull over a black man, and the saddest part about it was he was in front of his child.
Yeah.
So now you have the patriarch of your family being bossed around like a kid, and your child has to sit there and see that. Like, it brought back some feelings for me. But that's how it goes. And it's not just in Baltimore. This happens in a lot of different places, but just to take that man's identification in his cards and just throw him on the ground, like that dude took it too far. And how he got, well, we know how he got all those complaints,
Mhm.
and they had pictures, files, and everything. And for him to still continue to be on the streets, it's corruption that goes to the top.
Yeah.
Caleb, final thoughts.
Yeah, so the complaints like get dropped because of all by statistics, because he makes arrests, that makes the police look good, and when the police look good, that makes the government who put the people in charge of the police look good, and that gets them reelected. And it's like a whole system that just doesn't help, just covers for the bad cops that treat people like this. Like that's how they keep getting away with it, and all the complaints get dropped. It's just, I mean, if the numbers look good, and then they're not going to do anything about it,
Mm-hmm.
It goes
Yeah,
back to
I
cause,
just.
you know what I'm saying? You can,
Mm-hmm.
disrespect a man in front of his kids. You can, you know what I'm saying, call him everything but a child of God. You can bash another man's head in until he bleeds and knock him out on the street. But as long as you meeting that quota and you helping them reach them numbers, they'll just turn the blind eye to it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And like Hendo said, it don't just happen in Baltimore. It happens honestly, anywhere there's black people, it happens. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just glad that HBO and, a platform that big is exposing it for real. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, you know what I'm saying, like the only way people will pay attention to something if you dress it up cinematically and put it on a big screen. So hopefully
Mm.
people start paying closer attention now.
Yeah, man, because there's always this phrase they love to use. Oh, there's a couple bad apples. There's a couple bad apples. I'm like, but yeah, but here's the thing. But if there's 5 bad apples and 1,000 good apples, and 1,000 good apples don't say nothing about the 5 bad apples,
Mm,
there's 1,005
Got a
bad
thousand and
apples.
five
But even
bad
after that, those few good apples that tried to say him, they were shut
They
down.
get
Like, yeah, they
so
get placed
thank you,
somewhere
Caleb.
else. And
Thank you, Caleb, for bringing that up. But now let's talk about it as how'd you guys like the behind the scenes? Because like I'm pretty sure us normal civilians wouldn't get what Nicole Steele was trying to do because it's probably not all up in the news all the time. But
right.
she like how did y'all like seeing what she was doing through the show? Like how she finds out that there was a cop who didn't like that they were doing mass arrests, and the way they rewarded him by telling him like, all right, we're gonna put him out on like this
The passion.
the pasture. Like this like young cop. I think probably he looked 25, 25, 26, maybe. He just wants to be a good cop, trying to do his job, trying to help the neighborhood. But they're like, nah, you're not following the code. Go out to the boonies. Like, what was going through y'all minds? Tony, what were you thinking, man?
You know me, I'm negative Nelly. I appreciate everything that her character portrays and everything that she tries to convey through concern and civil rights and all these other things. But we always know that the deeds of the few never really affect the many. So
That's real.
I appreciate what she's trying to do and what her organization is trying to do, but it is on such a small scale that they didn't get anything accomplished.
Mm-hmm. DeShawn, what
And
about you, my man?
I wholeheartedly agree. Like you said, I appreciate the sentiment, and I appreciate that there's people that do give a shit, but at the same time, like it goes back to the term about bad apples, right? When
Mm-hmm.
I like what Chris Rock said about it. Why is it that there can be jobs where you just can't have bad apples? Like
Mm-hmm.
when you fly in planes, you can't have people just say, all our pilots are great. Every once in a while, we got one that just likes to fly into the side of a mountain.
Right.
They don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and in this portrayal, you kind of see that it's more than a few bad apples. You know what I'm saying? It's like even if they're not all the way a bad apple, you got people that kind of play both sides of the fence because it helps their political gain and it helps them get elected and it helps them, get higher jobs and bonuses and raises. And at the end of the day, I always come back to the morality and the humanity part of it. It's like, bro, y'all are killing people. Like
Yep.
y'all are destroying communities and tearing apart families. Like at what point do we stop worrying about numbers and care about the people? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So yeah, well now like she brings up this specific story between a rapper and Herschel. This rapper named Young
Shout out
Moose.
Young Moose.
Yeah, So Young Moose is a real person? Is he a real
Yeah,
person?
he a real rapper.
He's a real rapper. All right.
I've been listening to Moose since I was in high school. Yeah,
So like this song probably does exist. So I may find the song. I may
it
find
does.
the
I'm
song.
sure it did.
So let me find the song. So that connection of seeing that how she went to a rapper through his lawyer to talk about like how this one cop, kind of like beat the living shit out of him. Like what were y'all like? Because I enjoy how the sausage is being made. I like this behind the scene because like the stuff she's doing, they were never gonna tell us what she did. We're gonna find out her report. That's what they always do. Is like they don't show us how she got the report, just
Right.
the report. What did she like? And that's what I like about how like she was in the community. I agree with you. I like her sentiment. Is it gonna work? Maybe, maybe not. More on the maybe not part. But seeing how like she actually went to Young Moose and said, "Hey, I don't care about what you doing. I want to talk about Herschel. What did he do to you?" And then she also talks to another kid who got beat up and got cracked over the side of the head with got pistol whipped, and he has this big old scar on his forehead, and he had a beanie covering it, right? So like he has a beanie covering it. So like seeing her like on the boots on the ground, trying to get to know what's going on, like she comes in with good intentions. She may get warped maybe, or she may keep her good intentions and actually try to help something. But I don't know if it helped or not because I don't live in Baltimore. I don't know what happened after 2018 or 2020. Like Tony, I don't think you live there anymore. Do you live in Baltimore anymore, Tony?
Yeah, I live in Baltimore. Yeah.
Oh, you still there?
Yeah,
No,
yes, I do.
no, I thought you moved.
No.
Wait.
So what happened was I started up when I was young in the ghetto. I
Okay.
lived in the city for about 30 years, and for the last 18 or so, I've been in the county.
Okay. Wait. So which one of the homies moved? That's not
What?
Davon. I know Davon moved.
Davon moved to another
No, but I,
state.
I know someone else moved. Wait, time
Um,
out. No, time out,
Raven
time out.
Ron, Raven Ron, he
No,
lives
he in
somewhere
Seattle.
else.
He in Seattle.
Yes.
Know that. Oh no,
Um,
here's the thing.
Andrew,
You were planning to move. You're planning to move, right,
I
Tone?
wish I
I would
moved.
like to.
Okay,
I would like to.
no,
Right,
no,
I want to
no,
get out of here so bad.
because there was one day that Tony was talking about moving to Texas, or like Austin or
Oh,
something.
no. Yeah, well, it was a discussion of the family wanting to go to Texas.
Okay.
I would rather prefer Arizona, Delaware,
I hope it don't snow
maybe
down there
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Okay. All right.
maybe somewhere down south.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
You better hope
All
it
right.
don't
So
snow down there again. Them
Texas.
popsicle
Oh,
stick
Texas.
houses they got.
Oh,
Bruh, I used to be stationed in South Carolina, and one day it snowed like 2 centimeters, and I promise you the whole city shut down because everybody was crashing.
it was
They
like
can't handle it.
everyone was like, what is this white substance? That's not
They were.
cocaine.
But the
What
crazy
is this?
part was it was 90, it snowed that morning, but by noon it was 97 degrees.
That's global warming.
Weirdest thing.
That's called global.
This was back in 94, 95.
That's when global warming
Yeah.
started.
Oh,
Oh,
did it really?
we've been
Yeah,
tearing this planet apart for
No,
quite some time now.
yeah. That's global warming's been around since like 1985.
probably so.
Yeah, exactly. So and now let's talk about like how she like goes to talk to John Ursel, like the cop, and the
Yep.
cop's like he's out eating crab, eating like
Crushing
crab,
them wings, bro.
putting them wings, going like on the run, like just like straight up disrespectful. He's like, I don't care. He was like, I ain't got no comment. Like, what was going through your feeling? Because like I think that scene was supposed to like drive emotion. What were
Well,
you guys' emotion through it, DeShawn?
the first thought I had was there must have been some good ass wings.
He was tired about.
He was tearing them joints up, but you know what I'm saying? Like I kind of expected that. You know what I'm saying? Like I figured somebody that is known as that type of dude wouldn't care about the people. He would try to come up with some half-ass excuse to justify it. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't surprise me at all. I figured that would be the stance he took on the whole situation. But I do like thinking more about it. Like you said, boots on the ground, like doing the field work, talking to the people. Like you do gotta appreciate her character doing that, and you know what I'm saying. Like it just goes back to show like at the end of the day, there is still folks in that who do care. Just unfortunately, their voices ain't loud enough. So like, I don't think I really think it partially has to do because she was a woman, she was new to the city, she ain't never really been to Baltimore. Is like if in that situation had they had somebody more intimidating, No, I don't know how that would work, but yeah, I never expected him to take her seriously from the jump.
Caleb, what about you, my man?
Yeah, I just think he just feels justified in how he treats people because he's a cop, he's the good guy, and they're the criminals. So he finds there's a clear division, so I can do this to them because they break the laws and do all what to do, and that's why it gives me justification of how I treat them. And also when she's interviewing the commissioner, he knows like he's a problem. Like he knows like he should be out of there, but he feels like he can't do anything because he has to have one of these complaints sustained, and then as soon as that happens, then he can get rid of him. But yeah, he just kind of feels like, well, I'm trying to do something, but I can't really do nothing.
Tony, your thoughts, my man?
Well, I felt like DJ Khaled. I was like, you smart, you loyal, like you did the right thing. Like I don't care if somebody walks up to you on the street and is like, yo, I'm just a civilian needing some answers. You never admit to anything. And that's what got G Money caught up, running his mouth. Now, I do fault her. Well, I won't say fault. I do have an issue with her. How should I say this? Her voice, so to speak. Because you had that new young black guy come over into the department. And if you really wanted allies and somebody with you, you bring them along and show them the ropes. You find out who you truly have on your side and who you truly have backing you up. And I just thought that she maybe should have took him with her to kind of learn what was going on, and they could kind of tag team this and try to get better results instead of going K solo. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, now let's flip it, because like there's this thing that like kind of transcends both episodes, where when they do arrest somebody, right, and they put them on the stand, and they're ready to do a conviction, they can't fill the jury boxes because no one's showing up for jury duty, because no one's gonna believe the cop that just talked, because no one's gonna believe him. Even the good cop wants to tell the truth. They're like, nah, but you a cop, and you look like the cop that beat my cousin up last week. I don't believe anything you say. The man that they arrested could be the man who just murdered somebody last week. He may get off, or they may not even fill the jury, so they got to release him. That's the thing that threw me off, man. Not threw me off, that was fascinating. Is like the cops are so rotten, and the relationship is so eroded to the point where people are willing to risk missing jury duty, which is one, a federal offense, and it could be punished by fine and prison, to not talk to that cop because they know that cop's a liar. Yeah, that blew my mind, bro. That's how bad it is, bro. They're like, we're willing to miss jury duty and go to jail because I don't believe that man for selling the truth.
But it's even worse that it's even worse that they have a list of cops that can't come into the courtroom and testify. Like they have a ban list. Like that is ridiculous.
Because they lie.
Because they lie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no,
like that's the fear they instill in the community, and you know what I'm saying. That's one of the realest aspects of the whole show to me, is that collective fear and anxiety. The community gets just around the police, just because of, and it's not because of stuff you see on TV all the time. It's like, this is really happening every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, probably as we speak right now, there's a cop somewhere in East Baltimore City kicking somebody's ass that we don't even know about right now. Like,
definitely in East Baltimore.
Yeah, see, like that stuff happens way more often than people with camera phones can pick up. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw a political cartoon one time that was a glacier, and it shows like the tip of the glacier is poking out of the water, and this is the police brutality that's caught on camera. And the whole rest of the glacier that's submerged underwater is all the actual police brutality that takes place. So like, it's great that people are starting to like record and expose this stuff, but like, there's still so much more that takes place that they don't really feel threatened.
Because it's the thing too, because like it's also not like just physical violence. There's a point where it's like mental torture, where you're like
psychological warfare.
Yeah, it's like where you're like in constant fear of like your entire life, walking down the street. Because I had a homie who grew up in East Oakland, and he legitimately was like, he woke up every day and he's like, it's today the day I'm gonna die. You know what I mean?
Running a stop sign shouldn't potentially cost you your life, yeah.
Exactly. Like here's the thing too. Like here's the thing too about him is like, either the cops gonna get me, or someone else gonna get me. Like
Right.
so he's thank God nothing happened to him. He's actually at the University of California at
That's
Cal.
what's up.
That's what's up, right? But still, like he lived like I didn't have to live in that. Like he lives like I legitimately lived in the constant fear of like, hey, today's my last day on earth. Is today the last day I'm on? It's like today like me saying goodbye to my mom. Is that the last time I do it?
Right.
Oh, I just like nuggied my little brother and messed with him in the morning. It's the last time I'm ever gonna do it. Am I gonna come home for dinner?
Hmm.
Am I gonna come home for dinner? Am I gonna come home? That's I'm like, yo, that's wild. That's like imagine living your life like that, man. And I'm just like that's just crazy to me. That messes with my mind. And I'm like, but that's people's regular lives. It's the way it is.
It's reality.
Yeah. Well, now let's end it, guys. I think we've gone about an hour. Let's end it with a more positive note. Actually, a good cop for once, right? He is a Suitor, played by Jamie Hecker, who's the one, the only. He is Marlo Stanfield from The Wire. Yes,
Marlo.
Marlo is a cop. It's the wildest thing. He's a cop, and it threw me off. He's real murder police. So, guys, what were your guys' thoughts on his storyline of him becoming a new detective in the homicide department and him like catching a case about a dude who like built a fence but didn't build a fence? But what are your thoughts on that one, guys? Like
Yeah,
to
I,
finish this
I, I
off.
was just like in the first two episodes, I'm just like thinking like, what is this? Like, obviously he has some past history with Jenkins, but you don't really see that until the next episode, with them being partners. So I'm just in the first episode, I'm just going like, what's the point of this? Like, where are we going with this? Like, I don't really see the connection to what's going on over here with what he's doing with trying to solve his first homicide case.
Tony?
So I wasn't getting that good cop feel.
Oh,
When he and his partner were first going out and Gondo pulled up and was like, how much money y'all making? You know, what scam you getting into? It kind of let me know that he used to be a part of something. Now, he may have tried to get out of it, but he definitely was a part of it, because just like there was another member, I think his name was Eric Snell. He actually went to Philadelphia and they got him, but he was a part of that unit, but he got out a little bit earlier than the others. Now, I think he did well in the scene about the fence as far as cops go, because the angles that he took and the pictures that he was taking, you know, I think he did good. But no, I don't think he's a good cop. I just think he's trying to cover his tracks.
okay. DeShawn?
I'm always gonna like Marlo Stanfield, bro. That's my guy. That's my guy. Anybody tagged into the fantasy football league we in already knows it's Team Marlo. You know what I mean? But
String a bell, baby.
Brother moves on.
but yeah, I'm interested in that character for real. I'm interested to see the route he takes and the role he plays. I guess in the end game, sort of, because it does seem to me that he and the Nicole Steele lady, I feel like they eventually gonna cross paths and try to like. I hate to use the term team up just because it sounds so corny, but like
They're probably gonna
join
team up.
forces. Yeah, like join forces to try to battle this corruption. I think that him being a detective, tells me that he's been on the streets as a cop. He's seen some shit, that he knows some things that he's tapped in, because they don't just hand that detective badge out to anybody. So I'm interested to see the role he plays in the end game, because it does seem like he's setting up to be one of the main protagonists in the end. You know what I'm saying? Or one of the more important pieces.
All right. Yeah, man. I think Tony, you may have a thing, because I realized that scene with G Money in the parking lot where where G Money's trying to like get something out of him,
Right.
and kind of like, yeah, man, what you doing this time, man? I know murder police ain't that lucrative, right? And and I think and it's just like, because like the city wants to run with this narrative that the guy got shot because he was building a fence to keep drug dealers out, but
Right.
but Suitor's like, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Something else happened. Probably something like that. Probably something he was in happened to him. Like he got because he was in the game. Maybe, I don't know. That's what it felt like. But yeah, man, it felt like even good cops got stank on him. You know what I mean? Like no one is gone without stank.
Listen,
Everyone got the stank, man.
they had listen. It is literally impossible, in my opinion, for you to be a police officer and not know who the bad eggs are. Like
Yeah.
it is literally impossible, especially if you've been in a precinct for a couple of years. So my biggest thing is if I know who the offenders are and I'm letting them go out here and rob, shoot, kill, plant evidence on people, I'm a bad cop too.
Mhm.
Because I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
I swore an oath to protect the law and uphold it. And I'm not doing that by letting you, him, and her get away with all this stuff.
Sean, you about to say something, Sean?
Now, I was just gonna say, like, you may not be the one pulling the trigger, but a lot of times these cops they stand around, they watch. The George Floyd situation, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? There was like six cops, a bunch of them just standing around, keeping the crowd back to make sure nobody interfered and potentially saved George Floyd's life. So a lot of them cops that they may not partake in the actual crime itself, but they fully aware of what's going on. I agree, they just as complicit to me.
Mhm. All right, guys. I think we've gone an hour. We've broken down these 2 episodes. I just want to get final thoughts on the 2 episodes and how y'all liking the show this far. Let's start with you, Caleb. Final thoughts. And do you like the show? Do you recommend it?
Yeah, I'm really liking it. Really can't wait to see what happens. How all this, obviously, it's already history, so you already kind of know what happens if you just look it up. But I just want to find out through the show, just because I'm really liking it. So yeah, I do recommend it. Can't wait to see what happens.
DeShawn.
I really like it. I like the message it's sending. You know what I'm saying? I always love movies and TV shows that send a message. You know what I'm saying? That really speak to something that's going on. I appreciate and enjoy the fact that it's not something I necessarily had to run back to my dad and ask him about. I was alive and around during, well, not around in the city, but I was alive and aware of what was, taking place during the Freddie Gray situation. So it'll be definitely interesting to see how, I hope they portray that, scenario, that situation. I, you know, want to see how they would portray it and then compare it to the reality of the situation of what it was like back then. But overall, I think it's really well done. I like the characters. I like the writing. I love the on location shooting. That always makes for better, TV. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Tony.
Um, I love it and I hate it. Like I just love the aspect of it. I love the accuracy of it, the acting. I love all of that. But I hate the fact that we have another series that highlights Baltimore. I got enough flack with The Wire. Like my friends outside of Baltimore are so scared for my life from watching The Wire. They don't even call it Baltimore. They call it The Wire. And I had an actual fireman hug me in Delaware. I was working in Delaware, and the guy was like, "You have an accent. Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Baltimore." He was just like, "Come here, brother. Stay safe, please." And I'm looking like, "Bruh, it's just
I
Baltimore."
ain't from Vietnam, bro.
So, I mean, I like I said, I like the accuracy of it, but I just don't like that they keep bringing out this stuff, making Baltimore look worse than what it is. But overall, it's a great show, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next 4 episodes.
All right, man. Well, now let's round it out. Tony, where can people find you, my man?
You can find me on YouTube at Ravens Online Ungatekeepers. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at R Gatekeepers, and I'm on Facebook at Ravens Ungatekeepers.
All right, DeShawn, my man.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jesus double underscore nephew. Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
All right, Caleb.
Yep, find me at NFL 22 on Twitter and Instagram, and with you reviewing the Oakland Fire on this channel.
Yes, we are. We're gonna watch season. We'll do it later or tomorrow. We'll do that one. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, guys. I'm Ferris Mathon. You can find me at Ferris Mathon on Twitter. Here on the Let's Get Ready Network, just reviewing stuff. But yeah, you see my name. My name is right there. Like it's right here. Like
I got one
right
more
there.
thing.
Yeah, Tony.
I would like for everybody to wish Caleb a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, brother.
Yeah. Today is Caleb's birthday, so happy birthday to Caleb. Yeah, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure if you haven't liked and subscribed, like and subscribe. Comment if you like the show. if you're from, if you like the show, say yeah, you do. Why? And if you don't, why not? Just tell me. I want to know your opinions and feelings on the show. On that note, guys, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and have a wonderful night.